¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos, soy Susi Moscatel. Hoy tenemos un programa con unas entrevistas realmente interesantes porque sí, siempre es interesante platicar con el actor, con el director, con los escritores, pero ¿quiénes son las personas que toman las decisiones respecto a cuáles son los contenidos que estamos viendo tanto en nuestras casas, también en muchos casos en el cine, pero finalmente en el streaming? Bueno, en esta ocasión tuvimos la oportunidad de platicar, ahora sí que con la mera mera de Amazon Studios, Jen Salk, además de con James Farrell. Él se encarga, por supuesto, de todo lo que son los contenidos de los locales. Vaya, ¿qué se hace especial para cada país? Hicieron varios anuncios respecto a la programación de Amazon, como el documental de Maradona, la serie. Además vamos a ver otra vez a Derbez con su familia en su reality show. Por supuesto que nos dio mucho gusto saber que Pan y Circo de Diego Luna regresa. Pero, ¿qué hay detrás de estas decisiones? ¿Qué está haciendo esta empresa, una de las pocas que sí han triunfado por motivos obvios en tiempos de pandemia, que han seguido adelante? ¿Y qué es lo que están haciendo para dar a la industria de cada país donde están teniendo éxito? ¿Qué van a hacer con el teatro en México, por ejemplo? Eso es interesantísimo. Uno diría, pues, ¿qué tiene que ver esta empresa con el teatro? Y bueno, sobre todo, ¿cómo toman las decisiones para llevar a cabo la programación que nos interesa? Chequenlo. Both of you are very good at telling stories, at understanding what stories people want to hear and how they want to hear them. Obviously, that's what you do. But what have you learned about Mexican audiences that make these series work? And what's the criteria? Maybe start with you, Jen?
Yeah, for us, it's so important that we not only deliver big global, hits that can travel the whole world, but that we're also really keeping our local customers and viewers front of mind. And Prime Video in various locales all over the world, we want to be able to tell authentic stories to those customers, and we want them to be able to see their lives and their talent reflected in the content that they see.
What makes a product work for the Amazon brand, since it's obviously one of the most recognized brands in the whole world, if not right now the most?
I'll jump in. I'll let James expand on that. But for us, it's about curation. It's not about volume. It's not about checking boxes of we need X amount of shows, like let's move them through the pipeline. It's really about the love and care we circle all of this content with. And it really starts with the authentic voices and the artists who have become part of the Amazon family. What we're looking for is originality, authenticity, bold creativity, and ideas. And, that's what the teams on the ground are charged with finding. And then we as a company are able to surround those projects with smart marketing and PR strategies and social strategies and create the talkability and the cultural relevance that we really want out of all of our content.
For many years, people thought Mexican cinema was a genre, instead of it being like movies made in Mexico about all of these different things. And now with the opportunity of so many filmmakers and television showrunners doing their different things, it's no longer a single genre, and we get to see it this way in a very specific way. Do you guys get that feeling at all from talking to your content creators and from the audience?
Absolutely. I think they look at what we are doing across the globe. They look at shows like Fleabag or The Boys or Modern Love and the coming Lord of the Rings. And there's such a huge variety of content that's coming, not to mention like the, commitment to exploring, more underrepresented stories and voices. So I think it serves as a calling card in the local territories so that people know, hey, Amazon really cares about this. They want a diverse content slate, and they're looking for authenticity of voice. And so if I have something I'm burning to say or a story I'm burning to tell, it might be really interesting for Amazon, even though on the surface of it, it might feel kind of small or it might feel very specific. Those are sometimes where the most wonderful projects come from.
Also, women get a lot of great voices here. And I know, Jen, that you've been really working towards this your whole career. And I know that happens now in Mexico with our contents too, James, and in Latin America. But for example, I cannot get enough of Mrs. Maisel or Fleabag. And they're not exactly like politically correct. And I love that too. That's not a barrier anymore, is it? And for women, it used to be more than for men.
Yeah, it's really amazing to have a creator like Amy Sherman Palladino and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. These two women, incredibly strong and dynamic, very clear, authentic points of view about what they want to say in the world. And that's what we look for. That's what we think cuts through. We don't want to water down vision. And so once we get on board with what that vision is, there's really no stopping those shows because, it's about the talent. It's about the specificity of that voice. And you can certainly look forward for more, more of Maisel. They just actually started production last week to come back for the next season. But you can look for more content and new shows and content from both of those prolific creators.
Oh, that's great news. And when it comes to doing shows about women in Latin America and in Mexico, James, I mean, we've had some really great ones, shows and movies. El Juego de las Llaves, for example. I mean, everybody was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're talking about this. And then everybody was, well, so what? It's so cool. It does create social change. Is that part of the goal? Or is it just entertainment?
Well, good question. You know what? You want to entertain customers, and you do want to stimulate that conversation, exactly as you said. And I think you really changed my perspective when you shared what you shared about Mexican films and the history there. The putting them in a box a little bit. I think that's probably why all these creators are coming to us with ideas like Juego de las Llaves. You go to the next meeting and they're pitching you something with zombies. You go to the next meeting because people have felt like they've been in a box for too long. There are too many things that they couldn't do before. And then as they release it, of course they want to see Juego de las Llaves and talk about it. Of course they, are as interested in zombies as anybody in another country. They're just having a lot of fun touching on things that for some reason people thought you couldn't touch on. But, as soon as you do it, it's people enjoy it. And it's really nice.
I'm really excited. Yes.
I wanted to add to that. I think, we look at our content and we look at what makes successful content. And, we're not interested in making political statements or anything like that. It's more about giving people something to engage with that they will talk about, that will excite them. So they want to share it with their friends. They want to, it's something that they wake up and go to bed thinking about. And that urgency to engage with the content is really critical to the success of these shows in a world where there's so much content out there and so many other things we can do with our time, hopefully after the pandemic, even more. But you just really want to command that urgency and that desire to engage with the content. And it can only help to have it be a stir-up conversation. And it doesn't mean it has to be negative or controversial, but definitely engaging.
How much is the artificial intelligence that works with Amazon and with all of that go into the process of content making? Or is there like a wall between both things? Because it is a different world in that sense.
Yeah, well, we have a ton of access to data. We don't have a lot of very specific data around customers due to privacy concerns, but we do have data on viewership and engagement with shows that we put together. But we've really found that creativity and vision and storytelling is very hard to rely on machine learning data to make those decisions. But we do try to balance a really strong input from our strategists and research teams with high judgment and high creative judgment. And what I've loved so much about being at Amazon, and when I got there 3 years ago, I thought, the same, like every decision is going to be kind of made through this process of machine learning or strategy and certain inputs, and is it going to contemplate, creativity and artist vision and all of that. And what I found is we're just part of one global community. Whether you're working on a strategy or data team, we all love storytelling, and some of those executives and leaders have been kind of my go-to for feedback creatively on things because they come to it as fans. And so I think we've really struck a great balance of being very humanistic in our way we make decisions, but also taking advantage of all the resources we have to make the right decisions.
The fact, one last thing, because you were talking a few minutes ago in the panel about doing a big investment in this industry in Mexico, which is really needed and appreciated right now. And obviously you mentioned television and movie making, but you also mentioned theater. And that really caught my attention, and I really care about that. Could you just tell us a little bit about it? And with that, I know my time will be up.
So many of our artists, whether it be, Phoebe Waller-Bridge or Amy, like they come from a background where they're involved in theater. And so we really draw no distinction between incredible work within the theater and the voices that bring that content to life in such a compelling way. And we have great respect, and we hold great value to those voices and to those communities. And they've been really hit very hard by this pandemic. And you look at anywhere in the world, the first thing to shut down was all of those experiences. So no matter what phrase the plays were in being produced, you have a passionate group of people, just like any movie or series that we have, that are putting on something for customers that's visceral and incredible and brings people together. And to have that be handicapped in such a profound way during this time is heartbreaking for us to see. And so we want to be there to support those industries through that. We share so many resources from in front of and behind the camera, and all the artisans and people that work on all our shows. They really live and breathe in that world as well, a lot of the time. So it's just an extension of our home for talent, and a community we care deeply about.
Muchísimas gracias. Siempre es un honor traerles a ustedes estas entrevistas que, pues, más allá de lo que vemos en la pantalla, nos explica todo lo que ocurre detrás. Soy Susi Moscatel. Gracias a todo este equipo, Caro, Ivette, M2 completito. Gracias. Y nos vemos en un ratito.